Just his hands.
hand does things.
Of course. Obviously.
It does things.
Come on.
Come on.
Come on.
You know what else has come on?
Oh, I don't know if I want the answer to that question, but I'll bite. What's that?
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to Pixelit. My name is Kevin. With me, as always, is Phil on today's show. We're continuing on the adventure that is NieR Automata. NieR Automata. Long story short.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to start first right off the bat by saying that a 3-day weekend screwed me up. So
we're recording.
I was operating.
We're recording, and Phil didn't read the book.
No, I was operating under the assumption that today is Sunday, today is Monday. I told Kevin, I was like, I could do it if it's all right that I haven't read it. I was going to read it tonight, so it's not like it could get more confusing.
It actually could get more confusing because there's actually some twists in this portion of the book.
Oh well,
I'll try to guide you through. It'll be a guided meditation.
If there's anyone I trust to do that, it would be you, Kevin.
You are the stand-in for the audience, and also, I mean, it's good because this is probably going to be the shortest chunk relative to the first and last. The problem is the chapters 8, 9, and 10. Chapter 8 is like a big honkin' chapter.
Right.
So if we had included chapter 8 on this part, then the next episode would be really short because 9 and 10 only represent like 15% of the book. So,
right. So we got to do what we got to do.
We got to do what we got to do. How are you today, Stephen Philip?
Whoa! Oh, put out my Christian name. Holy
Christian name.
Christian name. I'm good. I'm good.
Well, I mean, you got to get those Christian names out there because we have a by God Christian president now.
It's been a long time since we've had a more zealous president. Just an absolute firebrand. I can't.
You can't keep it. You can't do it.
I can't even keep up a head of steam on this one. I'm
even
trying.
Do it.
I can't even do it.
You can't even ask that man to quote a single You could say, quote the shortest thing. You could give him Jesus wept, and he'll be like, Jesus, it was tremendous, and then he wept because of how tremendous it was. He would not be able to. He is the
definition of a more is more kind of a guy, isn't he?
More is more. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he would say that the book of Revelations was his favorite. And I would be like, ha, you bastard. It's singular. It's singular. I
caught you. What was the thing you did? It's Corinthians 2 or something like that, as opposed to 2 Corinthians.
Something like that. It was like Corinthians Part 2.
Electric Boogaloo.
The Corinthians Strike Back.
Jesus wept, and but he's a great guy. Otherwise, he's not a crier. Not normally. We're gonna forgive him for that one. He's a weeper. It's all right.
He's a weeper, but
he's a weeper. Right. Not like me. I'm not a weeper.
I don't weep.
I don't weep.
Let's put the body in the marsh. Then.
Oh, thank God. Yes, please.
Yeah. When I tell you to dump a body in the marsh, you dump him in the marsh.
All right, we're picking it up. We're with chapter 5, subtitle 2B's Story / Confrontation. So when we last left off, they had just fought against a gigantic, Okay, yes. They had fought against a giant thing and is like a monster out in the ocean. And 2B had to go back to get a black box scanner from Devola and Popula in order to find 9S, because 9S got blown way off course. So she finds out that 9S had landed back in the crater from earlier where the alien ship was, according to his black box signal. But when 2B gets down there, she can't find him. She follows the signal down. She goes through another path to an elevator, and her pod starts warning her, like, no, don't do it. Don't go down there. She's like, shut the fuck up. And she goes into the elevator and goes down, and she finds a gigantic machine city that has been carved out underneath the earth. She picks up the signal again, and she just sprints towards it, and notices that there are other android bodies just piled around. As she continues through, she gets to the town square, and she meets up with Adam, who is like, welcome to my city. Eve isn't
Adam.
there, though. Eve is not there because, as we last saw, Adam was heading out on his own to figure out what death is. Adam starts monologuing, though, and he says that after studying human history, the essence of humanity is battle, to fight, to steal, to kill each other. And to that, I say, boo.
Way of the blade.
No, I'm so like, I get it, but also I fucking hate this like sci-fi bullshit where it's like, oh, humans and war, they're so intertangled. It's like, come on, guys. Can we look more critically at the idea of like capital and class rather than just saying humans are intrinsically
we just got to fight amongst ourselves,
warlike, and that is the essence of humanity, is to fight and murder. And I'd be like, come on.
That's the essence of a few people who looked at something and said, I want that. That's something else someone else has.
Like
I'm going to send a bunch of people to die for it.
I hate it. It's annoying. Anyway, he talks about that bullshit a lot. And he also mentions that he has detached himself from the machine network, and therefore he can die, and he wants him and 2B to kill each other. 2B refuses to fight Adam because she wants to find 9S, and she's like, you're just in the way, you're just wasting my time. And Adam knocks down part of a wall to crumble to reveal that he has 9S, and he has crucified 9S up on a cross in order to goad her into fighting. This is what you miss when you don't read the book, Phil.
Jesus, yeah, I know. My FOMO is just tapping out in my brain.
As she attacks him, he mentions to her deep down that she knows the truth. She knows the truth about humans, that they're already extinct. And while she's fighting him, her pod keeps talking to her as well, telling her things. And like, no, don't listen to him. Ignore him. And she's like, just shut up. And she ends up killing Adam. And Adam, as he's dying, he's like laughing. He was like, I finally get to know what death is about. And then he's like, oh, this sucks. And then he dies.
Yeah.
Like, he realizes that it's not great. It's like, you're not missing out on anything. He just fucking dies.
It's the ultimate problem of like, that's such a young artist thing. You hear about like young artists, they worship people like Hunter, Thompson and Charles Bukowski. And they're like, excess is the way. I gotta do a lot of drugs and a lot of alcohol. And like 2 or 3 years into that, they're like, oh, I'm not having a good time so much. This isn't, maybe not for me.
Do not emulate Hunter S. Thompson or Charles Bukowski. Like, you can read their work, but there's not a single thing you should do that is like them. That they produced. Who was it? I forget. Somebody was talking about the fact that, that they made good work while they were suffering. They didn't make good work because they were suffering.
Right.
And I think that's something that a lot of people misunderstand, the suffering artists, that you need to be like them in order to make work like them.
Right.
I would, if Hunter or more specifically Bukowski was not a dragged out alcoholic who looked like he lived 15 lives in one lifetime.
Right.
I'm sure he still would have been able to write a damn good book.
Yeah.
But he probably created less than he could have.
Exactly. And he created a lot. And no, but that's the thing. You're absolutely right. And it's there's that, it's a myth. It's an absolute myth, because these people, Van Gogh, like, these people are miserable. These people are hurting, and you can glean something from that. You can learn a hell of a lot from something like that. But it's not meant, but emulating it just because that's what they did. It's like, well, Bukowski went and ran with the Bulls. Not Bukowski. Hemingway ran with the Bulls. I got to run with the Bulls.
I got to run with the Bulls.
Do you hear what you're saying? That's pretty stupid. Like, how about you go do your own thing?
Right. Yeah, they would have. It's sort of like. Did you ever see that Doctor Who episode?
No, I'm just going to say right up off the bat, no.
Where okay, so they're in. They're back in time, and they end up meeting Van Gogh.
Actually, I have seen that ending.
Okay.
That I have seen that. I saw a clip
and
of that. Yeah.
He's basically everything you expect. He has the severe depression, all these things, and they bring him. They're like, well, maybe we can help him, and they bring him forward to the future, to an exhibit of his paintings, and seeing how all of his work touches everyone. And it's just this amazing moment of Van Gogh breaking down in the middle of this museum, like tears in his eyes, weeping as he sees the fruits of his work touching everybody in such a amazing way. And then they find out he still ends up dying young. He killed himself, right?
Yes.
Yeah. He still ends up killing himself. And it's like, they didn't even bringing him to the future to show how impactful his work was doesn't actually change it, because it doesn't magically solve the fact that he suffered from these issues.
It doesn't change the fact that he's that on some level he's broken. It's and I don't mean to imply that suffering from depression makes you, or anxiety or anything along those is you're broken. That's a poor choice of words. But that I can tell you with my own issues with depression and anxiety, that's how I felt on many occasions. Like something isn't clicking right, so it's a bad theory. It's a bad theory that you gotta do the heroin to be like Kurt. You gotta, do the acid to be like Hunter. I would be way more impressed if I read something that was just spellbinding and blew my mind apart, and I met them and they were like clean cut and very boring. I mean, shit.
Like, to be honest, that's a guy like Brandon Sanderson.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Sure.
Who's Mormon, I believe. Doesn't drink, and I don't know the man. I don't know if he has his own like issues or whatever, but and the bulk of Stephen King's work is after he became sober.
Oh yeah. Yeah. A lot of really, really good shit too.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not just, it's not like,
like 90% of everything he did is after he became sober.
Exactly. It's the vast majority.
And I say
of his
that
work.
because the man writes 15 novels a year and
Jesus
about
Christ.
1,000 short stories.
What a prolific man. I'm having trouble finishing a novella right now, so I got nothing.
Well, I think the thing about him is he got to the point where he was a professional writer, and then and if any of you are wondering how he does it, he is a professional writer in that he treats it like an office job.
Yeah.
He goes to his home office and he sits and he writes.
Yeah.
For 8 hours.
That's really what you got to do. That's really how it works.
There is no muse to hit him.
No, whatever teacher told you, I feel like all teachers say this at some point or another, and they're all right. And it's that artistic expression is 90%, 98% perspiration.
Yeah.
And 2% inspiration. It's corny. It's hackneyed. It sounds like exactly something your favorite English teacher in high school would say, and it's completely correct.
Yeah. I mean,
so,
one of I wouldn't say he's my favorite author, but I would say I love his work is Cormac McCarthy. And he even fell into it or maybe that was just his way. He fell into it because he wanted to abuse, basically, take advantage of a teenager.
Well, yeah, sure. that did happen.
That did happen.
So, yeah.
I mean, I love his work, but there's no denying that he decided to say, well, she's my inspiration, you know?
Yeah.
Like, God damn it, Cormac.
I think our generation is the generation that will struggle the most with the death of the author. We are really grappling with that one.
Sure.
Between Cormac McCarthy and Neil Gaiman and all these other people, and there are a lot of people, and Rowling and all that shit.
Yeah.
There are plenty of people out there who are like, okay, how much of this can I actually consume and not be a hypocritical asshole?
Yeah. And I think in my mind, it's like, consume what you want for the most part. Just with the understanding, I mean, I have my Audible of the complete works of Lovecraft, that I go back to from time to time. It's a big old file. It's
that thing's like 56 hours long.
56 hours to sit there and listen through the whole thing.
Oh yeah,
which includes novels within it.
yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
don't have heroes, kids. That's
don't
really
have heroes, kids.
Don't have heroes. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't do the thing where you make the good authors list. Talk about the books you like.
Yeah.
Don't talk about the ones you hate, or talk about the ones you hate in an illustrative way. I don't care, but don't idolize people for the sake of hanging your entire personality on their works.
Bingo.
Yeah, because don't do it.
Just don't do it. Trust us. It's going to be easier that way.
It's going to be easier in the long run.
In the long
run. Neil Gaiman didn't save you. You saved you. And I think everybody would agree with that. And Stephen King, if you told him that his work saved you, he'd probably shoot you a really weird look.
Yeah, he probably would. I bet he'd say something real nice, but he'd probably go, "Oh boy, that poor guy."
Stephen, I don't know what's going to happen when he dies. I just
I'll tell you what's going to happen in the old Keeling household. There's going to be one sad drunk man in the corner for a day or two, reading Skeleton Crew over and over again until my bladder gives out and I just weep and wail in a pile of my own urine.
Did you see that the monkey is coming out?
Yes, I had mixed feelings about Longlegs. I really enjoyed it, but at the same time, we've talked about this on the show.
Sure.
But I love that story first and foremost. And I do think this is the right director to adapt this. It looks insane. And
what's his name?
Kind of pumped.
Perkins, Anthony Perkins' kid. Osgood Perkins.
Osgood Perkins. I was like, it's not Oswald. Osgood. I didn't know that was Anthony Perkins' kid.
It's Anthony Perkins' kid. Yeah. Osgood Perkins, the son of Anthony Perkins.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Fine tradition in that family.
Yeah. I guess I didn't realize Anthony Perkins has been dead for a long time.
How long?
I mean, he died in 1992.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Anyway, where were we?
Anyway.
She kills Adam, which he finds death anticlimactic. And and then he dies. 2B then rescues 9S and brings him home. And then we get another side chapter of Eve, and it's about Eve finding Adam's body and deciding to just end the world. Chapter 6, 2B's story / reunion. While 9S recuperates, 2B does some research and talks to Pascal, and she begins to have a change of heart about the machines. And she thinks of, on Adam's words, that at one point he says, like, the machines and androids were kindred. You know, we're more the same than we are different. Just then she gets a message, possibly from Anemone, but they're static, so she goes to investigate. There's a bunch of machines in the city ruins that are blocking her from getting to the resistance camp. And when she gets to the camp, she sees the androids there are under attack and being violently eaten by the machines. The machines are like eating them like zombie style. 2B helps Anemone evacuate the survivors, but is stopped by a giant spider-like machine. Just then, 9S arrives to help her by flying his flight suit down and jumping out of it, and the flight suit crashes into the spider machine. So 2B and 9S reunite. Eve arrives, and he is pissed. He calls to the walking machines, who start eating the remains of the spider machine and fusing with him to turn into a giant sphere that begins to spin and destroy everything. She then gets a call from Pascal that there's something happening at the village. They get to Pascal's village, where he says any machines that were still connected to the network have begun to rampage. They put together that Eve is now in control of the network, now that Adam was dead, and is causing the machines to basically lose their mind. And they need to stop Eve. As they approach this direction where Eve is, suddenly all the machines that are in the way shriek in pain and die. And they get to Eve, and he's basically just like killed all the machines around him. And he's very upset about his brother being killed. He uses iron and rubble around him to create an armor onto his body and begins fighting 2B. 2B is doing a lot of damage, but because Eve is on the network, he is pulling energy from the machines and just heals himself every time 2B does an attack. 2B and 9S plan for 9S to try to hack him and take him off the network to cut off his healing capability. Her pod, though, keeps telling her to just leave and to leave 9S behind. Strangely enough. 9S hacks Eve and is able to fight him a bit using Eve's own weapons, while 2B attacks Eve's body. Eve is defeated, and 2B takes his head off with one final swing, ending the conflict. 9S, though, isn't so lucky. Having been in the network to hack Eve, he has a logic board infection. We finally get some backstory about 2B and 9S's relationship. They've known each other for a very long time. 2B is not an actual B model. She is an E model, the E standing for executioner. 9S is the best scanner on the Yorha group, and would inevitably find out compromising information about Command, and 2B would be ordered by Command to kill him and reset his memory to before they met. And she has done this over and over and over and over.
Oh.
And this time it's different, though, because she wasn't being ordered to kill him, but had to because of the logic virus. And she would tell herself, it's never like, I only killed 9S once. Each time after that was a copy. And then she's like, no, every time I do this, I'm actually killing him. And so she kills him, and she gets really angry at a nearby machine that's standing there with glowing blue eyes. And then the machine talks to her and tells her to hold on, because it's actually 9S who had copied himself over into a machine while he was hacking Eve. And then 9S just starts rambling about how fascinating it is that he was able to move his data over into this machine. So, and then 2B hops on his back because he's in a larger machine, and they start going back to towards, a pickup point. And we get a summary scene from pods 153 and 42 talking to each other about how 9S had discovered the incriminating Yorha information, but no execution order had come down this time, and that the final sequence was in play. Chapter 7, 9S's story, Casualty. The commander confirms to 9S that humans don't in fact exist, and in fact had stopped existing prior to the aliens even invading Earth.
Oh.
The Yorha project had created the idea of a human board to give androids a god to fight for. The commander then gave 9S all the relevant data and told him to do with it what he will. 9S couldn't muster up the courage to tell 2B because he didn't want her to be flustered, and command had just ordered all of the Yorha troopers to be mustered and mobilized to head down to the planet to make a final attack on wiping out the machines. They get down there, and 9S is annoyed with how 21O, his operator, is treating him like a child. And then he gets a call from 11S telling him that he needs to start syncing his data again back up, so that because the other S models won't be able to update. 9S hadn't turned it back on since finding out the secret. He reunites with 2B, and while they're fighting the machines launch some sort of EMP attack, causing 2B to double over in pain. 9S destroys the machines, is unaffected, and destroys the machine that's generating the EMP sound, and then protects 2B while she has to reboot. During that time, the machines hit the androids with a virus, causing them to fall to the ground. It doesn't affect 9S, who then applies the vaccine to 2B. While 2B recovers, the virus makes all the infected androids begin to attack 9S and 2B. 2B is unable to fight back because Yorha androids are equipped with programming that stops them from friendly fire. 9S needs to fry 2B's identity circuit so that she can fight back against the other Yorha soldiers, and they get to cover. Then 2B takes out a Yorha squad, while 9S tracks down the machine that is blocking them from being able to talk to command. They destroy the signal jamming machine, only to be told that they still can't connect to command because there was no one at the other end in the bunker accepting the signal, meaning something was wrong at the bunker. As Yorha troopers attack them, they decide to upload their data through a backdoor in the bunker that 9S knows about. So they do what they did at the beginning of the story. They take their black boxes and touch them together to cause a detonation. And basically it wipes them out and everybody else. And they wake back up in the bunker in the units that they have up there. They run to the control room where all the feeds seem doctored. The commander's looking at the feeds and it all seems like she has no idea what's going on. They try to tell the commander what's going on, and she's like, yeah, but you're the guys, you left, you ran away. So you were under arrest. So the commander puts 2B and 9S under arrest because she thinks they're being sus. But then it comes out, all the operators on the bunker have been exposed to the virus too. And they all begin talking to 9S and 2B about how they're talking to them through the virus and the network. And all the operators now have these red glowing eyes. So they grab the commander and they try to save her, but she realizes that she's infected with the virus too. And as her last act as the commander, having any sort of lucid thoughts, she pushes 2B and 9S in the hangar to take flight units down to the planet. And as they launch out of the docking bay with the flight units, the bunker is destroyed. As they fly down, and basically they're the last two surviving Yorha androids now. As they get down to the planet, they're attacked by other Yorha flight units. 2B uses herself as a decoy to pull them away and then she overrides 9S's flight unit controls and forces 9S to land while she acts as a decoy and runs off, so that he's safe and she disappears from sight. At the end of chapter 8, we get another side, A2. A2 is fighting a bunch of infected Yorha troops when 2B comes upon her. 2B has been infected and asks A2 to kill her and take her sword because it has her memories in it. A2 obliges, and just then the ground collapses as a white object shoots from underground and pierces the sky. A2, 2B's dead body, and 9S, who had just sprung from the shadows, fall into the hole. So, a lot of stuff happened in that section.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
2B
Good
is
job,
dead.
Phil.
The main character is dead now at this point.
All hail the main character.
All hail the main character. Well, so basically at the end, she's telling A2. So A2 is the original version of 2B's model, right? She's the prototype. And 2B is like, hey, like, kill me. I'm not going to be myself for much longer. All of my memories are stored in this sword. So like she uploaded herself to the sword before she's.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
But
9S doesn't actually see it like that because 9S in the last moment is like trying to attack A2 before the ground collapsed from underneath them.
Right.
Yeah.
That sort of thing kind of anytime that comes up, and that does a lot with this kind of story, I can't help but think of Soma.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, any of you who play, if you know, you know, that ending, I wonder how much of that would be in play in this world, you know, like in terms of, you know, it's you, but it's not you or whatever.
Yeah.
I always think about that kind of thing.
It's a coin flip as to whether you, in terms of your consciousness, is the one that is going to be on the other side. Because I believe in Soma, you do also see the one, like you see both, right? Like you see the one that's left behind. That's like the main one. But then you do jump to the point of view of the other version of you that is saved, basically.
Yeah, you do get that moment, which a little more depressing than anything else, but cool.
Well, it's like also if you had seen Altered Carbon, which also was a book series. Basically, Altered Carbon presupposes is there's a device that is invented that instead of just like memories, it's your actual consciousness that they're able to store. They figure out the math behind someone's consciousness, and you get a little chip that's in the back of your spine, right under the behind the base of your head. So when you die, you can be re-sleeved. So they take the chip thing out. They put you into a new sleeve, a new body, and you carry on, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that. And there's like these laws against people being duplicated. So like, because it's data, so you can duplicate somebody's consciousness. So there's these guys in the first season that are quote unquote the so-and-so brothers. I forget their name, but if they're not brothers, it's one consciousness that has been duplicated and put into two sleeves. But they like treat each other like brothers, even though it's actually the same person in two different bodies.
That's clever. That's really interesting. That's really interesting.
So yeah, I think about that kind of stuff. And then there was also the game. It was on my, did I put it on my game of the year list last year? I think I might have. I can't remember if I mentioned it in the episode though. Where is my list? Collections, Goaty list 2024. Not installed. There we go. Nobody Wants to Die.
Yeah. That's that was an interesting. I really wanted to try that one out. I never got to that one.
Yeah, it's an interesting little game. It's a mystery game, but also has the same kind of idea of Altered Carbon, where you can move a person from one body to another. but there's also a tax that you have to pay. And if you don't pay it, then your consciousness can just be put into storage.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, there's just like storage banks where they like
filled with people.
You're just filled with people where they just put you and you're just there forever.
That's crazy as shit.
Like until somebody can pay off your debt, but who's going to pay off your debt, you know?
Right. Yeah, exactly. You're just stuck there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's horrifying.
It is. It's a pretty horrifying premise, but they do a really good job with it in that game.
Oh, sure.
So yeah. And I would say the book is still pretty choppy in terms of like writing style. And it was weird. There was like some parts where like they, instead of writing Eve, they wrote Adam during the fight with Eve. And I was like,
sure.
Is Adam back? And they're like, no, I think that's literally just a typo.
Yeah.
Just putting the wrong name in there. Otherwise, you know, it's the story from NieR Automata. So it's what you would have been getting if you played the game.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like hearing all this, I said this last time, but it is still making me want to play the game.
Sure.
Interestingly enough, because I'm sure that the game does it in a, maybe a little more of an elegant fashion than this is.
Yeah. I mean, I think the game is still relatively on the nose with, stuff. And obviously Japanese creators just love having a character be crucified. This just makes me think of Evangelion. But Evangelion was a lot more overtly, had a lot more Christian, not only theming, but like story lore, because it was, the Lance of Longinus and all that stuff.
Oh yeah. That shit got pretty dense.
Yeah. 100%. So yeah. And then we'll do part 3 next week. But
yeah, I'm probably going to end up reading it tonight. So I can stay ahead of
the whole thing. Just finish the book.
Just read it.
Just finish the book. But Phil, I do have one question for you.
Ooh, hit me.
What are you playing?
Oh, I'm actually, since I finished up Borderlands, I figured one good back catalog game that I've been meaning to play, for a while deserves another, and started playing Cyberpunk 2077.
Okay.
Seeing as you got it for me for Christmas.
Yeah.
Oh boy, this is a good one. That's a good game. That's a good damn game.
Yeah, and now you're playing it. You're playing it after it's been all patched to hell and it's on version 2.0.
Right, and that's the thing, and that's exactly it. I'm playing this, and I'm enjoying the story. I didn't realize how much of a Grand Theft Auto kind of inspired game it was. I think I may have gotten to it a lot sooner if I'd known that. I was just thinking in terms of it being like an open world kind of.
No, it's more like it's more Grand Theft Auto open world than anything else.
I think, and they do it really, really well. And it being in a cyberpunk world, and them being able to also expand that where it isn't just the city. You've got the nomads out on the cusp of things, and I'm really impressed with the world they've created, and clearly a lot of attention and work went into this, and what a heartbreak it must have been when it got shit canned so hard when it was first released. You're right. I'm playing the fully patched repaired version, and that's probably why people are so pissed, because as we have spoken about before, we're always harsher on things that have a lot of promise that is just unrealized or clumsy or what have you, because it's like, oh, it was right there. And I'm just really enjoying it. I've been playing. I like the storyline. I like the way it plays. I'm playing a intellect sniper. So if
Nice.
I hit people with some quick hack skills and then shoot them in the head. It's quite enjoyable. Great way to play. It's like a future wizard. It's really weird.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Yeah, I'm enjoying that. It makes me think, and you and I have both talked about our love for the Genesis version of Shadowrun, and it makes me think of that game in all the right ways.
Yes.
Obviously, this has a lot to thank for Shadowrun for.
Yeah, and I think what is it? Cyberpunk 2076 is the tabletop, or
yeah, I think so. Yeah,
or whatever version of the Cyberpunk tabletop game is at now. Cyberpunk Red or something like that.
I think it's Cyberpunk Red. I don't know if those are related or not, but that's the most recent thing I saw in this.
Yeah, Cyberpunk, the Cyberpunk tabletop and Shadowrun, they're always going to have some sort of spiritual overlap.
They're connected. They're connected. Shadowrun's way more D&D and with your elves and your dwarves and stuff, and Cyberpunk's a little more grounded in the old school neuromancer shit.
Right.
And that's all great. And I'm playing a corpo, which I never do. Like I was just like, you know what? I would normally play like I start out as a nomad or something like that. That would be my kind of character. And you know what? You'd never play a corpo. Let's play a corpo.
Yeah.
It's been super fun. I got to the point. I'm well in Act 2 at this point, but I did have a moment where I got up and I took a break. And I was talking to my wife and I said, and she went, "How do you like it?" And I said, "Oh, it's great. They've made me love this guy's best friend and he's doomed. He's fucking doomed."
Yeah.
It's like at one point, like we're literally walking through this job and everything. It's the big score. And at one point he literally goes, "Well, that's a great bar. I'm going to have to bring my girlfriend back after we're nice and taken care of." I'm like, "Oh, you're a dead man. You're a dead man. You're not walking out of here alive."
Yeah. You're talking about Jackie, right?
Jackie. I love Jackie.
I
love that
love
guy.
Jackie too. Notice I said past tense.
Yes. Yeah. Great character. And when I went to his friend and met his mother and stuff, and she gave
his
me
mother and everything. It's amazing.
Well, yeah, I met his mother. Yeah. He knew him already. But she gave me his motorcycle, and I was just like, it actually had a moment of like, I get his. Oh, thank you. Like it does. You get invested in these people.
Yeah.
They do it well. I really love anytime they give me a chance to sit in the passenger seat and let someone else drive. That was always one of my favorite things about, because Grand Theft Auto 5, I remember you could do an auto drive feature and just let it drive you there. And I did that a lot because I really enjoyed watching the city go by.
And the Cyberpunk, it's a beautiful city. Like
it's gorgeous. Oh my gosh,
just gorgeous to let to walk. I remember Harry from Video Games Are Bad, friend of the show, was always talking about how much he liked when they finally added a walk button to Cyberpunk so that you could like actually slow down and stroll through Night City.
Oh yeah. It's great. It's beautifully done. It's familiar enough that it's exciting to be like, oh shit, I know a place like this. It feels familiar. And it's, different enough that you're excited to see what kind of new ass shit you're going to find around the corner. Keanu Reeves' character, I did not know that this is the way it was going to go with him. I love that it's kind of like a cyberpunk ghost story in a weird way. I love that. Very creative stuff. Really, really solid writing, which I shouldn't be surprised about based on the quality of the novel we read. They clearly give a shit. It's CD Projekt Red. They give a shit about story. So
the novel was really good. Fucked up, but
it was bleak
as
hell.
It was
really good. That's honestly kind of dominated my week. What about you, Kevin? What have you been playing?
By the way, have you met any romantic partners yet?
I met one girl. I just finished up a gaggle of storyline with this nomad chick.
Pan Am,
yeah, and it gave me an option to romance her,
yes,
or at least to hit on her, and I didn't take it. I don't know why.
You should.
I should. Okay.
Well,
okay.
I mean, I'm not saying anything, but
She's pretty excellent. She's
Pan
a cool
Am
character.
is, I think Pan Am is one of the tops. And she's also like, each character has like there's a bunch of romance options, and they kind of like range. They're not player sexual. So a V with a feminine body cannot romance Pan Am. She doesn't swing that way. She only will romance a masculine V.
Right.
So but there's other characters for, like, there's a bunch, I want to say six or seven romanceable characters in the story and all that stuff.
Right.
But yeah, no, awesome. I really love Cyberpunk 2077. Like it's wild, even with all the stuff that happened to it. And I played it not that long after it released. It was maybe like 4 months after it released, and I really liked it. It had already had a good number of fixes to make it worthwhile. But now it's like it's even better. And also I have the DLC so with featuring Idris Elba.
I was just looking at that.
That I need to get into.
It's crazy. This game's enormous as it is. So
yeah.
I'm
a little sad that CD Projekt Red's next project is Witcher.
But
because
I'm sure plenty of people are not on the same level with you on that.
I know. I would have liked more in the Cyberpunk 2077 world, just because I think currently that's more my speed. Sure. Because the Witcher games are more standard open world where you're a dude or on a horse or whatever. Yeah. Versus the city-based open world, which I find I really enjoy.
Yeah.
Okay. So what did I play? What have I played? I have been playing I've played more Path of Exile 2. I don't think anybody wants to hear about that. I finally got to Act 2 on Path of Exile 2, which is kind of hard to do as a solo player.
Oh, wow, yeah.
But I got there. But what I have been playing a lot of that I really recommend everybody check out, especially if you are a fan of The Return of Obra Dinn, is a game called The Root Trees Are Dead. This game was a browser game at one point. And I don't know how far the browser, roottrees.com. Let's see. I don't know how far the browser game went, so to speak. But the version of the game that's just released on Steam, you go through this entire like mystery, and it's the same as Return of Obra Dinn. Hold on, Brighton wants to get out of the room. It's a mystery game like the Return of the Obra Dinn, where you have to figure out 3 identities before you they're locked in. So the whole thing is centered around the plane crash happens, and the Root Tree sisters, who are currently the most famous of the Root Tree family, they're like all 3 of them are model actresses or whatever. They've died in a plane crash with their parents, right? And they were the kind of like the flag bearers for this massive like old money family. So you're contacted by an anonymous person who's like, all right, well, they died. We got to figure some stuff out about the family, and we got to figure out who's a root tree and who isn't in this family tree. So the idea is like, there's like, she gives you a list, the person that hires you, a list of like the 9 notable ones that are easy to find. And your tools are, it's set in 1998, and your tools are an internet browser, thing to search through the library, and a periodical system. So you are able to like, you can like basically do these these Google searches. You just put in the name and something might come up. Some people, nothing will come up. But then you'll find something like, oh, their actual name was this. So you put that name in, and it's a lot of fun. I really had a good time with it. I've beaten the first half of the game, which I believe is probably where the original version of the game stopped.
Okay.
And then there's another part called Root Tree Mania that you get to after you filled out the entire original family tree. And we're like, all right, we filled out the original family tree. Now we're going to do a family tree for all the affairs that happened.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Oh, I love that.
So you have to figure out who slept with who and what offspring that produced in the second half. I haven't started it. I just looked at the second, like it goes, all right, well, the main family tree is down, and like, let's do the rest of the blood relatives, so to speak.
That is excellent. Like, this is probably going to be my first 2025 game that I play. I'm glad you're enjoying it, because we tend to be in sync when it comes to those kind of games.
Yeah,
so
it's
that's exciting.
Take a look at it. It's fun. I fired up NieR Automata and just to play it a little bit, get back into the groove. You know what's hilarious about it is, like, on Steam, it's listed as one of my most played games entirely on accident. It says on Steam that I have 194 hours in it. Mainly, I turned it on the first time I got it. I turned it on, and then I got distracted, and then several days went by, and I came back to my computer, and I was like, "Oh shit, this is still running."
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. Balatro is a really good example for me. I have absolutely put in a shit ton of hours on that, but it's not as many as it says, and that's based mostly on the same kind of thing where I'll put it on. It's just such an easy game to walk away from for a second, and
yes, exactly.
Before you know it, it's been on for a day. So
it's been on. Yeah, it's easy for that to happen. I think.
Oh, yeah.
Dark Souls 3, which I have played quite a bit, also is the same thing. I have not put 300 hours into Dark Souls 3.
Right.
Elden Ring, I have put in a lot of hours. I have put in 145 hours. Those are real hours. The 300 in Dark Souls 3, no. The game is 15 hours long. I have not played it that many times.
Right. I just saw I was looking at the discovery queue on Steam, just saw that there's going to be another standalone DLC for Elden Ring this year.
Oh, it's not a DLC. It's its own game.
Oh, shit. Okay. I didn't know
Elden
that.
Ring Night Rain is its own game. It's a roguelike or roguelite Elden Ring game.
I think I have heard of this. Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
Got it.
So
that's a quick turnaround.
It's quick turnaround. Yeah, I mean, obviously they're reusing a lot of assets, and it looks like there's even like Dark Souls 3 bosses in it.
Oh wow.
So yeah. What else have I been playing? Oh, I've fired up Marvel Rivals.
Oh, how do you like that?
Well, it hits that. Remember the early days of Overwatch?
Sure.
Where it hit that spot and you're like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's Marvel Rivals.
Very
nice. What I'll say is hornier.
Okay.
I'll go with that. There's more characters in Marvel Rivals that I think the internet has decided they would like to consensually make love to.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I was looking at that. I was like, Mr. Fantastic's looking very sexy. It's not what I'm used to with him.
He's like, and you're like, did you make that Mr. Fantastic model? Yes, sir. Made him real fucking sexy, like you asked me to.
Wait, what? Yeah. Yeah. Not known for his cum gutters, Mr. Fantastic, but there it is.
I mean, he can, I think that's fine.
Sure. Oh, yeah. It's nothing
wrong.
Man.
I mean, he can take whatever shape he wants. Let's be honest.
You know what? That's a good point. He can, yeah.
I found out early on that my main is Luna Snow.
Okay.
And she's a pretty new character. She was created in 2018. She's a Korean. So her civilian identity is as a K-pop idol.
That's interesting. Okay.
And she uses ice powers, but in Marvel Rivals, it's like ice powers, but also she can heal people using the ice powers. Basically, she's like Lucio in Overwatch was.
Yeah.
In fact, she even only going forward, she starts like skating forward with like ice on her boots. She can't do it backwards or sideways. Like Lucio could go in whatever direction, skated and was faster than everybody else, but going forward, she is faster than almost everybody else. But yeah, so she's a Soul He or Luna Snow is my main so far.
Nice.
I put in a few rounds. But yeah, it's really cool. There is it's neat that they put her in it, especially since there are like there's a lot of characters already playable. Like Penny Parker is already in there. You got the entirety of the Fantastic Four. You got Jeff the Land Shark.
I've heard a lot of things about Jeff the Land Shark being kind of OP.
Which he is also OP in Marvel Snap.
Well,
You got Moon Knight, and all the and obviously one of the characters that everybody is in love with is Squirrel Girl.
Of course. Yeah, we love a thick rodent-based lady.
We love a thick anthropomorphized squirrel girl rodent lady with the squirrel ears, and she got that tail.
Oh yeah.
She got the tail on top of the cake, which is
my.
She plays. So I tried playing her. I couldn't really figure her out right away, but it was like, is she like Junkrat or something like that? I couldn't tell. Like all the characters have kind of you can kind of like pair them with an Overwatch character, like, but
there's an easy comparison there.
There's an easy comparison there, but I'm sure there's a bunch of them that I haven't touched yet that are in no way like an Overwatch character. But I feel like they already have more characters in Marvel Rivals than they ever had in Overwatch.
It's enormous. It's crazy how many there are. I, especially when you've got that one terrible Star Wars character squad shooter that came out, and they like just fucking like have a handful, and only one of them is, you only get one of them to start with. Otherwise, you got to pay money, and just like they're really kicking their ass with this. It's crazy.
Marvel Rivals. Cloak and Dagger count as one character, by the way.
Oh, nice. Nice. Of course they do.
They like, you choose Cloak and Dagger, not one or the other.
Nice.
And was it Bruce and the Hulk / Bruce Banner plays like what's her name, the girl in the mech in Overwatch?
Yeah. It's been a while.
Overwatch.
Damn it.
Diva.
Yes.
Hulk
Diva.
actually plays like Diva. Is kind of funny because when Hulk takes too much damage, he transforms back into Bruce Banner.
Oh, okay.
Who's just like a scrawny, nerdy dude running around with his little science pistol, and you have to just build your charge up again to and throw like the gamma grenades until he's able to turn into Hulk again. So yeah, it's a lot of fun, worth trying for a bit. But yeah, that's actually it.
Sweet.
One thing I haven't done yet, and it's important that I do it, or else I'll never hear the end of it, is talk about lovely website called patreon.com/pixelitpod. It's a beautiful website. It's
everybody says so.
Everybody says so. It's a beautiful website, and you can follow us for free on there. $1 gets you in the door. $5, you're allowed to listen to an ad-free episode, and also get the pre-show bonus. And $10 gets your name read out in every episode. So to that end, I want to thank Jesus Loves You, Kyle Seaman, Ruthless Mutter, Middle of Things, Sigma Sal, Chet, Beats, Dammit, Thick, and Friendly Friend. Thank you for being a friend. And that'll do it for tonight's episode.
Hell yeah.
Thank you so much for listening. If you can, follow us on Blue Sky. And from what I understand, there's actually going to be a Instagram version of Blue Sky coming out in the future.
That's great.
So we're just going to move right on off of Instagram to we're going to get right on out of there when that comes out. There's going to be a Blue Sky version of I think like a TikTok or whatever. Just get it all out of there.
Perfect.
So yeah, perfect for us, perfect for you. Things are great. We love you. Have a good evening.